What is going on, Governor? It's Chisgule here, and today we're bringing you more KvK footage. In this case, it's also overlapping with Mighty Governor. We've got some open field Murderball Mayhem. If you like Rise of Kingdoms videos, we smash in the open field. You should like and subscribe, because we have really been enjoying open field combat with the increased hospital capacity in KvK, and we are a sponsored creator with Rise of Kingdoms. Oh, my friends, if you're watching this video now, I'm probably traveling, and so I took a whole bunch of the footage that I'd recorded from KvK, and I've been editing it and putting it live, putting this commentary up in advance so that you have videos while I'm on vacation. So here you're watching good old-fashioned murder ball by the pass to our zone 1 in KvK, and we are opportunistically battling here, trying to stay within our own alliance territory if we can swing it, but that's actually harder than meets the eye. The enemy in this case is doing a pretty good job of avoiding our alliance territory, and here you can see just how gosh darn intimidating it is to have a freaking murder ball. Folks want to turn around and go the other way. I don't want to battle on their alliance territory because that's fairly non-optimal, although maybe we should have just taken it to their territory. The downside of moving into their territory in this particular instance is that we don't actually know how many armies are stored within each of those different cities. I don't know how many players are hanging out here waiting to catch us out of position. So we're playing very patiently, very cautiously. I suppose if we wanted to get a bunch of points in a hurry for Mighty Governor, we should have charged deeper into their territory. That's not what we were up to in this particular instance. Now, if we get a look at the murder ball we're rocking here, there's something you're going to notice right away, which is that the screen is a little bit compressed from how we normally record. I recorded this on my cell phone. I must have been out and about when this combat was happening. We are using a 25% army expansion for this particular footage, and we are rocking the cavalry skin within our city, which is going to give us a solid 5%, I think, cavalry health. We catch these folks out and about, and, pretty much any time we go to hit, they step back into their city, which is pretty smart because we've got 5 armies. Yeah. Those 5 armies include, it looks like, Mina Cao Cao, and I'm not sure who's, are we rocking Khan? I see Yi Song Ye, probably with El Cid, all but guaranteed. We've got Richard and Charles, which is a solid pairing. We've got Barca chilling with Joan of Arc, and we've probably got a mixed army going there. And I do see Khan. It might be Pelagius as the secondary. If we had Saladin at this point, then it's a Saladin, which is a pretty sweet follow-up to our Khan. At this point in time, I don't think we understood that Khan Cao Cao is the better combination. But, whatever. Here, we're getting a little more bullish about pushing into their territory, but you see why we haven't, because, gosh darn it, they've got so many armies. Don't you worry, we will march right up into there. We will charge right into that territory by the end of this video. Oh, yes. Here, we're getting some sweet, sweet combat going, baby. Now, you can see, this is why Sun Tzu is a beast. This is why AoE is amazing. This is why even epic commanders can do serious, serious work. And I'll be honest with you, I feel like instead of El Cid, in many instances, I wish I had Sun Tzu as the secondary to my Yi Song Ye. Here we are getting value on armies that are caught out of town, doing serious work on them. And oh, baby, look at this Scipio. Oh, melty, melty time. All 5 T5 armies coming in hot. Oh, yeah. Totally melted. Totally melted. We got march speed reduction. They're not going anywhere. Nope. Free trip back to town. Some folks popping out of their city to do work. Nope. We turn right back around. Now, the thing about this Murderball Mayhem is that we really need to look at our hospital very, very regularly, because you can accumulate 300,000 severely injured troops in a blink of an eye. Here we get a quick look at the status of our troops. This is a thing we would do periodically, is we'd keep 4 armies forward and send the 5th one back to town to refill, and then we'd come back in full strength. Because, the whole point of having this overwhelming amount of force is that it's overwhelming. If every army gets weak and I have to send them all back at once, our whole front line is going to break down, and that's non-optimal. So we try to do that incrementally as we're battling, and because we're very, very close to where we can go and refill. We're also relatively close to safety if we needed to head back toward the pass. That's a thing that we certainly could go and do. Now, it looks like we've got Freddy as the secondary to Khan, and that makes a ton of sense because Freddy is really looking for a rage engine, and Khan freaking delivers it. That said, I almost even feel like Sun Tzu would be a better choice as a secondary to Khan for just all that AoE goodness. Here we're getting a little bit bullied, so we step closer to our alliance territory, then turn and fight. If the opponent is going to give that to you, that trip back to your own alliance territory and you can fight within your own territory, that's always a thing worth taking. And here we do exactly that maneuver, stepping down just a teeny little bit and then turning to hit. You, when you're on the front line of such a open field combat, need to be very aware of where that front line is shifting so that you don't get caught completely out of position. And here we struggle a little bit with the control of our armies. We lost one of our armies that I don't know that we'd intended to go back to town, but it did. Oops. Oh, man. And we're at a point probably where we need to go look back in town and send more armies out. Here we see another cavalry army and infantry army caught out of position. We get some solid hits on them before they make it back into town. Their cavalry charge talents giving them a little boost to get back into safety. Here you can see we've got a solid 2 days almost of healing we need to do. So we crank through it. NBD, we got a lot of speed ups, and our repair bill, man, it ain't cheap. And we are cranking through the entirety of the bill. Normally we do healing incrementally. In this case, we're not. When I say incrementally, we heal like 2,000 troops at a time because the helps alone can get you all the way through it. In this case, we're not doing that because we're going to need to heal down the hospital again and again and again. And we want to get help the max number of times before we start jamming on our speed ups, which is a thing we will do. We're also noticing that we can't field full T5s at this point because we're needing to bring... we've got all those troops in the hospital. So now is the point where we're going to charge right up into the middle of their cities, I think. And we say, you know what? I've got 5 armies. I don't even care anymore. They're all max. Let's do this thing. Leroy Jenkins. Here we go. And exactly what I expected. As I charge in, they're going to start attacking me, and they duck into their cities, and it's hard to control my own armies, because when they go back to a city, all my armies are going to retreat back home. So here, holy jeez, is it hard to keep track of what's happening? There's so much damage everywhere. Yes, the chaos. The sweet, sweet chaos of open field combat. Here's an army caught completely, not out of position, but like, look at that melt. As soon as those skill attacks go off, just gone. And yeah, people are porting away. People are now porting away. I mean, new people will port in to replace them, and this was an ongoing back and forth, and honestly, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to be doing this battling. Here we are, a little bit later, pushed back to our pass, and we're establishing our murder ball. We're bringing it to the front line. At this moment in time, we've actually got a 50% expansion, which is a really good choice if you're going to be doing this kind of battling. It's worth like the tiny amount of gems, relatively speaking, to be able to bring more troops and have less troops get injured, especially when we're pushed all the way back to our pass. Now, when you're pushed back to the pass, you've got a lot of additional options for things that you can do. You can be pretty gosh darn sneaky and snipe individual armies that are close to the pass, and you can actually do that sometimes in a way where they can't hit you back, which is pretty sweet. So we're going to start to push up along with, it looks like Gen X and Death Squad getting... Is it even Death Squad? No, he's not in there. He's not in there. It looks like Gen X is the primary T5 making that push. But here, look at this. One army, Loki caught out of position, melt. And, we look for stuff like that when you're pushed back to your pass to get the value where you can find it. So now I'm just waiting until all 5 of my armies, or 4, depending on what I was bringing at that time, are in position, and we're going to start to push up to see if we can't cause a little mayhem along with Gen X. Oh, there's Death Squad and Potato Bot, and it looks like Shifty's showing up to party. This fight we're taking on our Alliance territory. He's coming, I think, after one of our Alliance members, so we wait until they get close to the pass, and boom, we start to hit. We focus down. It looks like we hit a Hannibal Barca that is now dropped. We're now focusing on Cao Cao. I see 1, 2, 3, 4 armies of mine. There's the 5th. I don't know where the heck that one was or what it was doing, but now it's in action. It looks like there's a Saladin, which would be a fine target to hit, although we're focused on that Cao Cao still. And now we switch it up. Controls are really hard, by the way, in this sort of a context. We're now hitting the cavalry again, and it looks like, my goodness, that's freaking Hannibal Barca as the secondary to Minamoto. Not the choices I would make, but I don't also know kind of what that full roster looks like. Now we see that Shifty's archers are below half health, so we focus those down because we really want to make sure that now that they're getting the damage boost, they get eliminated quickly. That's because El Cid's giving that 25% boost when you're below 50%. And the final army we work on is the infantry. That's the ordering we would recommend here. The infantry are incredibly tanky. You don't want to focus on them first. And our archers did take a beating. We noticed that and send them back to town using the controls to the right-hand side of the screen. More reinforcements, T5, are now coming. We take our hits on Shifty, and we probably then move back to our side of the pass to evaluate which of our armies need to get refilled, because here's the thing. We could stand there and battle with half-full armies, but we have the passes covered. We don't have to be battling them. We can just go take our time, refill full armies, bring them back into the action. Of course, we left our infantry back to do some battling because you can get a fair amount of free value there, and they have a high amount of counterattack, making it a relatively safe play. Hopefully you have enjoyed this video about murder balls. If you did, like and subscribe, and until next time, you have fun smashing the kingdom.